All right, guys, it's Monday morning, and welcome back. Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound, and today we're going to talk about something that is a little bit more advanced, but still very relevant for a lot of you that kind of keep tabs on the coin market. And as we all know, and it's unfortunate that we have to say this, a lot of the coin and currency market revolves highly around graded pieces. Ultimately, graded pieces, there's really nothing wrong with it. However, the way that this stuff is being pushed and promoted more so these days, um, it's at record levels, number one. Number two, it's almost like, hey, I have these coins, I have this paper money, they're all graded. I expect you to pay this big premium for them. Okay? I mean, that's fine. I think when coin grading first came out, it wasn't so much about making the profit and making all this big money from the actual grades of the coins and so on and so forth. It was more of a peace of mind thing. All right, I would say as recently as 15, 20 years ago. You go all the way back. Now, there are people back 15, 20 years ago that still promoted the heck out of these coins. Internet was still, kind of like trying to find its footing. And even still, people were still operating and they had websites, and eBay was still a thing out there. Although I think probably 15, 20 years ago, people were still kind of doing like, hey, yeah, I'll pay in cash or money order or, personal check. Those days are long gone, by the way, in case you haven't figured it out. But I wanted to talk a little bit about a practice that's been going on for a while. And this is something that I would say, if I were to pick out like select groups of people in the hobby, coin dealers, let's see, probably auction houses, because auction houses can submit coins on your behalf, and it doesn't matter who it is. So Great Collections, Heritage, and a bunch of others. And then there are also a number of individuals that don't fit under those two groups, coin dealers and auction houses. There's a number of people that do this practice, and they do it with enough regularity that they're quite successful at it. Unfortunately, we have to talk about a very uncomfortable topic, and that is doctoring. All right, people try and doctor coins and paper money to make them appear a lot better than they should. Okay, and that's all kind of like part of what I'm going to talk about, and that's going to be the crackout game and population reports, and how the numbers that you see on PCGS or NGC's website doesn't quite tell the whole story. There's actually some lies, some untruths that's involved here, and it's no fault of the graders' side. Okay, I'm going to tell you why here before you go, jumping all over PCGS or NGC. It's actually not their fault. All right, it's just the system and the way that's working, and the way that people are capitalizing on the minor when I mean minor, I mean minutia inconsistencies between not so much the graders like PCGS NGC as a company, but the actual graders that work for them. One person might grade just slightly tad higher as far as more stringent than another grader. I mean, keeping in mind that the grading scale, there's a certain continuity that a lot of these grading professionals have to adhere by, but you can't really help but notice that there's a select individual that might, let's say it's on a Friday afternoon, they're ready to go for the weekend, and they're like, man, I'm in such a great mood, I'm going to go on a vacation, blah, 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 whatever. They might grade a coin half a point better, because they are elated. There's a lot of psychology that goes into it. I'm not going to get into too much. There might be a lot of lies on my behalf as I talk about this. But I wanted to let you guys know that when you look through and you're looking for any graded coin, you want to add this stuff into your inventory, into your collection. The peace of mind aspect of it is that you're getting a coin that is genuine. All right, in hindsight. Now, we're not going to go and talk about the fact that people some unscrupulous individuals have counterfeited slabs and they put fake coins in there and all that. Okay, that's something that's always going to continuously happen. But as long as it comes from the grader, 99.9% of the time, you're getting the wholesome legitimacy of their perspective on that coin. It's such and such grade, it's this date, so on and so forth. So when you're scouring any sort of marketplace, okay, whether it's eBay, which is one of the top search engines e-commerce wise out there, but also when you're shopping online at some of these dealers like Northeast Coin, Coast Coin, there's a number of really big ones as well. And also the auction houses, all right, like Great Collections, Heritage Auctions, things of like that nature. You're always trying to identify some of the coins that would fit into your collection, but understanding that the difference between one grade of the same coin and the next highest one of that same coin can be absolutely astronomical, kind of like wide berth of range. Take, for instance, a coin that you see right there, the 1901 silver Morgan dollar. What I did was I went into coins and paper money, U.S. coins and paper money, or just U.S. coins in this case, typed in PCGS and did a general search. Sorry, my screen froze for a second. And do a general search for just PCGS. And you could also do NGC. Or you could go into the advanced feature and, do all graded coins. So that way you see even Annex and ICG. But I've drilled down from the top kind of like most expensive pieces going down. All right. One of the ones, these are all quite rare. There's 228. That's more in quantity, I guess. Weird. 1901, Silver Morgan dollar. Okay, let's go ahead and start here. It's a PCGS Mint State 66. It says Illinois set and rare Jack Lee finest known is a Providence. Okay, so the Jack Lee collection had this piece in there at one point. Incredibly expensive coin. They're asking $950,000. So let's audit this information that we have here. How rare is a Mid-State 66? And how did it get into this holder? All right. And then you guys are going to completely understand why a certain practice is happening and they're continuously doing it, and why the numbers might be a little bit skewed on the population reports. So let's go into PCGS.com. What I want to do is focus really on the pop report. The population means how many of this particular coin were graded in X, how many were graded in this particular grade, and you get the big picture. So we're going to pop report up here at the top, and this is all public information that you could go onto the website and pull up yourself without the aid, and you're going to choose US coinage, obviously, without having to pay for anything additional. All right. So we're going to go all the way down to the section where it's dollars and then Morgan dollars, because that's the type coin that we're looking at. And we're going to try and just find that 1901. All right. 1901p. It's a Philadelphia minted coin. You might have to go over a few spots. I'm just going to guess page 3. Actually, I already checked. I know where it is. And it's going to be all the way toward the bottom. 1901p. And we are here. All right. So this is pop count numbers. This isn't price. All right. I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea of what you're seeing here. But there's 3 lines of information. They're all actually quite important. We have just a general mint state 1901. You have one that says MSPL, which is mint state proof like, which means it has kind of a proof like look to it, keeping in mind that there was only one example graded in a mint state 63 with MS proof like. And then there's also this last one here, in which there is only one example in a mint state 61 that is deep mirror proof like. That thing is about as true or pretty close to what a normal proof strike would look like. It's got the mirrored fields, the frosty devices, you know what I mean. But the coin in question, the 1901 here, is actually just a mint state coin, all right? It's not a proof like, it's not a dimple. So we're going to focus on this line right here. it's a mid-state 66. So when you go all the way across, ladies and gentlemen, there is one example in mid-state 66. The coin that we bear witness to on eBay that is currently at $950,000 is a Pop 1. 1901 Morgans are extremely tough coins to obtain mid-state grades on. You can see that the highest number actually is only a mid-state 62, which would indicate that a lot of these coins at one point or another circulated. All right, so they circulated. Not many people actually saved these things at the highest state of preservation. It's just kind of a conditional rarity is what they call it. Now, here's where the important bit of information lies. Okay, so we have this one mid-state 66. The next lowest grade is the 65, in which two known examples graded in that are what we see there. All right, if you look at the number all the way on the right, you're going to see 6,785. All right, that is actually the total amount of 1901s that were graded by PCGS across all grade spectrums. Because in this particular chart on the Pop Report, you're only seeing mid-state 60 and above, but we're not seeing AUs. We're not seeing XFs, very fines. You know, you would actually have to click into the coin profile to see that, which is what we're going to do, because we're also going to see dollar values. How much is the coin worth? So when we get this information up, the actual coin here that's in mid-state 66, it's uploading. That's actually the Jack Lee specimen that we saw for available on eBay. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's nice. You know, who would have thought a 1901 Morgan would be worth that kind of scratch? The mid-state 66 that we saw available on eBay actually sold through Legend Rare Coins. So if I clicked into this, I want to make sure it's the same coin. And again, this might all kind of play into why the population number counts are inaccurate on the website. So if we're actually going into the Legend auction listings, X Jack Lee. Another thing you could do is actually take note of the cert number. So it ends in 6142. This one is different. 8319. All right. So what does that mean? So we have two different mid-state 66s. Both Jack Lees. This one says Illinois set. I don't know, kind of strange, right? But PCGS says it's a Pop 1. All right, I'm glad I pulled up this coin. This is kind of like coming to me in like the perfect way for you guys, so that way you could see. Is it really a Pop 1? Or is it a Pop 2? Or was the same coin submitted twice or reholdered with a different cert number? So you see what I'm trying to get at here? There's a lot of kind of like market shenanigans going on, and you're just trying to find the answer to it. Now, it's a very expensive coin. As you can see, they have a price of $700,000 on the coin. Now, they're selling it for $950K, taking into account some huge swings in market adjustment, because I guess we're under the impression that this is the finest known. The coins look a little bit different. I mean, this one right here has what appears to be, I don't know. I'm trying to look for a nick or a mark on the coin that kind of gives it away. All right, so if you see there on the letter E of E pluribus unum, the first letter, and you look at that star, there's a little scuff in the field right in front of the star. We could use that as a marker and this one has a little bit of toning on the reverse toward the top right there. So let's see if the Legend coin has that same scuff, and it does. This is the same coin, and this is, guys, why I'm saying that this is a practice that's something that's been going on for a while. Now, how did this coin end up from right here, from this listing in 2015 from Legend Auctions, into another PCGS holder with a completely different number. It's real simple. Maybe they wanted to add something in there. They could do that. They could send it to PCGS to add something like Illinois set or whatever. The person that bought this back in 2015 was probably the holder of the Illinois set. Maybe they're originating provenance of the Illinois set. A person that lives in Illinois. I mean, go figure, right? So they reholdered this coin at one point. Whoever reholdered it with Jack Lee and Illinois set all in one line. So that way there's double provenance. So when you have a double provenance on there, sometimes it could add a considerable amount of value to the coin above and beyond what a normal mint state 66 would sell for. But this is interesting, right? Now, this is kind of like on the most extreme level because we're not just talking about a coin that's worth like $800 or $500. I mean, we're talking about such incredibly high price value. Now, that's a mint state 66, but I don't know if you guys took a look at what a 65 plus is. $450,000. What's that? $250K. If we're just using the pricing data on PCGS's website, $250,000 price difference. All right. How about this one here? $325,000, $375,000 price difference. And here is where things get kind of crazy. And this is what coin dealers, auction houses, and distinguished individuals that do this solo with a lot of money, like incredibly leveraged, bankrolled up to yin yang. This is what they're doing. They're cracking out the coins and then resubmitting it to PCGS. If it comes back as another 65, guess what? Crack it out, resubmit to PCGS. But you see, every time it gets cracked out and then resubmitted to PCGS, it's a new certification number. Furthermore, it's going to add one. It's going to add one to the pop figures every time that thing is sent off because a grader can't distinguish that is indeed the same coin that's graded. Sometimes they can. Maybe there's like a toning pattern or something that is indistinguishable, or distinguishable in this case. Sorry, that's the wrong word to use. Distinguishable, that they're able to mate it up and then not add it to the pop report as a +1. It's a flawed system by no fault of PCGS's own. All right, they do the best they can to research a coin, but if a coin comes in raw, all right, and it ends up in the hands of a different grader, these are some of the things that happen. They continuously get passed back and forth because at the end of the day, shoot, if I could submit this coin 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times, so that way I could make an extra $50,000, you bet your ass they're going to do it. And this is something that is continuous, between all of these entities out there. They believe like, shoot, this coin is like severely undergraded. We're going to go ahead and send it out. And that's kind of the caveat to the grading game, is that at times it's inconsistent. Some people believe that, well, there should be kind of like this regimented, process to the thing. We all talk about that. I talk about graded coins enough times that it makes me throw up because that's kind of the world we're living in. There is so much more leverage in graded commodities today when it comes to sports cards, comic books, video games, VHS tapes. These are all things that have grading companies exist out there that could grade them. And then they ultimately move the market in such wildly large, unpredictable kind of price swings that it's become a business all its own, all right? Outside of PCGS, NGC, and I would say even CAC Corporation and PQ and all these other kind of like side companies that certify the actual grade of a coin. It's wild. It's incredibly wild. And then you guys understand why that this is going on. A lot of you who are new to grading, a lot of your beginning to intermediate level of coin collectors, a lot of folks that have joined up to my channel and have really enjoyed the hobby over the course of the last 5-10 years may not necessarily know that this practice is going on. But I want you guys to know that the number you see here for a mid-state 64 probably is not the actual number of coins that are graded in mid-state 64, if you know what I mean. Because, again, when you're looking at a huge pricing discrepancy between a 64 to a 65, I mean, wouldn't you want to crack it out and resubmit it a few times to really test that theory out? And if it hits 64 plus, I mean, you're a winner all day long. And I guarantee you that coin will be a $100,000 coin once it hits the auction block. But this is a thing that's been going on for at least the last 20 years. The crackout game, the resubmission, the incorrect, inaccurate population numbers, but the population report exists, right? Again, no fault to PCGS's own because the coins come in raw, all right? It's only when a coin comes in already in a graded holder that they've reset for a reconsideration, you know, where the actual pop number will actually stay the same. But I think most people, they'd rather crack it out to get a fresh perspective on that coin rather than sending a coin in a holder already, a PCGS holder, sending it back to PCGS and saying, yeah, can I get this for a reconsideration? That's an actual service, by the way. Double check this because I think it's undergraded. But oftentimes, when people, I'm not saying graders, but people in general, when they see something visually, they're fixated on it. And when they do that, it's hard for them to imagine any other outcome other than what's already printed on something. All right? Which is why I think the reconsideration service is a total joke. It's something that, in my personal opinion, should not exist. Because when a reconsideration happens, and keep in mind, when these coins are graded, it's not just one person that looks at the coin, but you guys got to believe, you guys got to know that the coin is audited across a number of graders, master graders. One guy assigns a grade of 64, and you have two other graders that audit it. But again, with the auditing process, they visualize a 64 on that sheet of paper. You're like, yep, it's 64. You know, like I'm not going to go through the trouble of telling grader number one or John Smith or Ebert Stranglehold or whoever his name is to say, yeah, it's undergraded. It should really be a 65. And then you have grader number 3 comes in and said, well, I think it's a 64 plus. It's almost like saying, I think the sky is blue while this individual says it's purple. So, it's a flawed system. As long as there are people that are looking at the coins. There have been attempts of folks trying to do some sort of AI, artificial intelligence grading. That even in itself is flawed because it relies on photographic images. And then sometimes if you have coins that have been whizzed to give the inaccurate look of luster on a coin to make it look like new, can really screw up digital photo software. So where do we go from here? Well, again, there's nothing wrong with buying graded coins. I think it's the safest way to own some pretty expensive coins. Anything I would say that you're spending $150 to $200 and up, I would certainly consider graded material because you know you're going to get a coin that is authentic. And if you're looking for a uncleaned, unplayed around example, a graded coin will certainly do that for you because if it's been cleaned or harshly cleaned, it'll let you know. They'll let you know because it's going to be on the slab label. But understand that we are in a multi-billion-dollar supplement to a huge collectible space in numismatics. And this is not going to change as long as the idea that you can hopscotch a 65 at $325,000 and then go up to $700K. As long as the money blinds a lot of people in this way, they're going to continuously play the crack out game. And it's going to continuously skew the pop numbers, which at one point, people are always saying, well, we need pop numbers. Okay, WADA, the video game grading company, they were grading all these games, but they didn't have a population report, and people jumped on their ass as a result of it. But you could see it on the coin grading side where the things can get a little bit skewed, especially if the games are cracked out and resubmitted, and they're constantly doing that because they're trying to get that one little micro bump to the next grade where it's going to push their video game to be worth another $200,000. But this is nothing new. This is not going to change things. But for those of you that are out there that are kind of wondering how the inner sanctum of like the top level of the grading game works, this is how it's working. All right. You can't really blame anybody here. You have coin dealers, auction houses, and all these other folks that do this for a living. They're doing it because they recognize there's money to be made. Because the coins will resell in this very, very nice market that we're in for coins and currency. And it's going to command so much more money with a grade bump. You can't blame PCGS because the coins, once they're cracked out, they get put in a 2x2 holder and they're resubmitted as raw. And if it's anything like this Morgan dollar, which is like blast white, you can't distinguish it from anything else. It's going to look like just another 1901 that's come in. But yeah, kind of an interesting topic. Probably very, very advanced for a lot of you folks that are watching right now. But this is something that obviously needs to be talked about. I've never talked about the crackout game and the resubmission of these coins, but just know that it's happening. People are doing this every day of the week. People, in a way, this is how they're making their living. This is also a way that people have created tremendous amounts of wealth. People that are brand new to numismatics but understand coin grading, they'll go out there and buy coins that are undergraded and they'll resubmit it. Sometimes they'll make an extra $1,000 on a coin. Sometimes it'll be $10,000. Sometimes it'll be $100,000. But these people that do this, they don't bulk at the submission price that PCGS charge them because they're so highly leveraged. They have money for days. They're using credit cards with cashback advantages. And they're going to work. They're constantly working to ensure that they can make a ton of money on things like this. And they're going to continuously do it 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and beyond. That's what I want to talk to you guys about. Sorry for keeping the video so long-winded, and just this is a very passionate type of subject that I think needs to be out there. People, sure, are going to hate me that I'm even talking about it. I don't care. This is not a secret, but for someone, a YouTuber that gets constantly thousands of views, all right, people are going to hate that I put this video up, and I can give 2Fs about it because this is something that is normal practice that everybody needs to know about that exists. PCGS, there are people from grading companies that watch my videos. They understand this is happening. Is there a way to fix this? Maybe if there's some sort of new AI software that PCGS or NGC is going to use to take pictures and match up, like in this particular case, there's a little scuff in front of the star. If they match this up with a previous submitted coin, then it'll red flag it and alert it and say, yeah, this coin has been through our submission table. We don't need to add it to the pop report, whatever the case may be. Maybe that's something that needs to be implemented and rediscovered at some point on the graders side. I think it'll benefit everybody a lot more once this comes to fruition and they could use this as an actual tool. So there's a learning experiences that's going to go all the way around. And again, this is something that that a lot of people are taking advantage of because they know the money's so good on it. That's going to go ahead and do it. Don't want to beat the horse to death in this particular case. Want to let you guys know we will be on to the live coin Q&A stream tonight, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. We will be there, myself included, along with our distinguished guest of panels, to talk about coin submissions that people have dropped in, just really cool finds that people have discovered out of change, out of cherry picking, so on and so forth. It's always a lot of fun, and it's a lot of discovery for a lot of people. Okay, hard to believe that a lot of rarities exist out there, a lot of cool errors and varieties to boot. But that's gonna go do it for this one. Yeah, I'm losing my voice all of a sudden. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell for instant notification. You guys know the drill ski. But that's it. I'm done. You guys have a good Monday, and I'll see you on the next coin video. Hopefully we'll see you on the live stream. See ya.